The Attorney General eba drop a cases and as charges against Abdul Wahab, ex-Baffa CEO. Abusuya na oba drop ni charges no. Emo ene yesanso ere arrest no. Yeba eba drop no ase. Edimam na ne lawyer aba bonten aba kasa aba board defense bi asa defense no. Eche all chim say the Attorney General no only evidence biana abuse of prosecutorial discretion. Abusuya na asem ya okan no asa Attorney General only evidence bia all based on na ode ahye prosecution asna or abuse power na oma Abdul Wahab akwa face trials and as a prosecution away ne lawyer no ene hwan ne lawyer former Attorney General a friend no Godfred ono ena babe place our defense no edema Abdul Wahab na obabe place our defense no lawyer Martin Kpebu no tete nkwanchen na no tete no abusuan waba ababe expose Godfred big timer the ultra or say abuse of prosecutorial discretion no abusuan wache ne se masa de wo ye no wo kra no aba be ye nneoma eno mom na ye abuse of prosecutorial discretion abusuan na ohwe lawyer Martin Kpebu the wa all canon seminar was schooly Godfred with legal wisdom ama Godfred who say sa defense na open no enye defense papa abusuan me yankona yankonkuti lawyer Martin Kpebu ne nsema or the betuya unsubscribe subscribe na hit on the notification bell so na any updates be dropping on once able to me akabi gossip politics TV so medamase
in trial. The decision to then withdraw all of these charges and then as a result of the fresh evidence that sparked some conversation. The lead counsel for the former Buffer stock boss Godfred Addo, that's the former Attorney General, described the prosecution's handling of the case as incompetent and an abuse of discretion. Take a look.
What is unfolding is the manifestation of the ineptitude of the prosecution, withdrawing all the charges and then right after rearresting them to commence investigations again. Nobody knows. It's a gross abuse of prosecutorial discretion. I've never seen its kind in the investigation before. If you want to take prosecution, you have to conduct proper painstaking investigations before finding innocent citizens of the land for the court. And that's clearly not what we have seen. We go to a press conference, bastardize the accused persons, take their reputations to stress, saying that they are guilty of offenses and all that, and that in no time you secure conviction and you call it rumble in the jungle. And now, after a year, you cannot even start because there's no evidence.
The former Attorney General, who is counsel for the former Buffer stock boss, talking about how the Attorney General is handling this matter. But then again, let me bring in the counsel for the second accused as well. That's Augustine Obo, also criticized the Attorney General's decision, describing it as an abuse of discretionary power earlier today when he spoke to the media. Take a look. We're going to bring back that particular statement or that position of the second accused on this matter. But Martin Kpebu is private legal practitioner, is joining us on Zoom right now for a conversation on this. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, I want to find out from you. I mean, it's standard practice per, the criminal procedure that prosecution would withdraw charges upon finding, new evidence, which the Attorney General, the Deputy Attorney General references in that post on his Facebook page. But from where you sit, what's your reading of what happened earlier today? The decision by the Attorney General to now withdraw all charges, and then also the reactions that you've heard the lawyers for the accused persons express about this decision by the Attorney General.
Okay, yes. So earlier on today, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Èxp0sè, wrote on social media what was going to happen, that they would be withdrawing the charges because they've uncovered new evidence. Yeah, so that, for me, I'm expecting nothing less than a bombshell, meaning that that's gargantuan. Yes, it's gargantuan. I would say it's gargantuan because, what I'm looking at is that if it wasn't material, all right, it wasn't material, the Attorney General would not withdraw the charges and then file new ones. No, because I say so because the Attorney General himself says that he knows Ghanaians are very expectant. Ghanaians can't wait for them. ORA must work quickly. And in actual fact, some have even lost patience, and some have said that no matter what this government does for Ghanaians, if they don't ensure that people who have looted our monies are held accountable. If we don't ensure, in simple language, the one that they say, if you don't jail them, of course, if they say if you don't jail them, they don't mean just catch them and throw them into jail. It means prosecute. So they are aware that no matter what they do, the main yardstick that this government will be measured by is the results that will be achieved under ORA, right? So I'm saying that the Attorney General himself has said this, that he's aware. So for the Attorney General to withdraw all the charges and say he's going to start afresh, then I promise you, like the way he says it, ramble in the jungle, and then as a sequence to this trailer in what? Manila. So maybe we'll be waiting for the new term that he will be using for this. But bottom line is that looking at everything, it must really be worth it. They won't withdraw charges just to file new ones if the figures involved are immaterial. No. It must be really material. Yes, it must be material. That much I can assure you. Yes, and even, you see, for Èxp0sè to go to his social media account and put that out, because he knows that if it is not material, Ghanaians will call for their blood. And I don't think they want to take such risk needlessly. So on the balance, I will go with them that what will be coming out will be significant, or let's say material. Let's stick to the word material here.
Right, but we're going to wait for that. But here's what the former Attorney General, who is counsel for the former National Food Buffer Stock Company boss, is describing this particular move by the Attorney General. That he says this is gross abuse of prosecutorial discretion. And in fact, he said the way the Attorney General is handling this particular case is one that can be described as gross abuse of prosecutorial discretion in this particular issue. And I want you to just hold on a bit, take a listen to him, and I'll seek your thoughts on his position on this particular development as we're seeing now. Take a look.
What is unfolding is a manifestation of the ineptitude of the prosecution, withdrawing all the charges, and then right thereafter we are arresting them to commence investigations again. Nobody knows. It's a gross abuse of prosecutorial discretion. I've never seen its kind in the education before. If you want to take prosecution, you have to conduct proper painstaking investigations before finding innocent citizens of the land for the court. And that's clearly not what we have seen. We go to the press conference, bastardize the accused persons, tear their reputations to shreds, saying that they are guilty of offenses and all that, and that in no time you secure conviction and you call it ramble in the jungle. And now, after a year, you cannot even start because there's no evidence.
So that's his reading. So there's no evidence. That's why he's had to withdraw this. The Attorney General has had to go on this path of withdrawing charges. That's against the AG's position that it is as a result of the discovery of new evidence, which is obviously part of criminal prosecution. But this is his description of what's happened today. Counsel.
Oh, no, to be fair. No, I say to be fair, no, because I was one who didn't agree with the Attorney General at all at the time that they entered a nolle prosequi to stop the Gregory Afoko case. I think that must have been sometime around 2019, 2020, thereabout, right? And when I say, because the law allows them, but that one was the real abuse. They just entered the nolle prosequi at a time when the prosecution had closed his case. Gregory Afoko and Gregory had opened his case and closed, and then written addresses were supposed to have been written. The final thing was that the judge was adjourning for judgment. Now it was left with the judge to rule. That's when they stopped the case, right? That one is the real abuse, and we're very unhappy about that situation where a trial travels to the end. You could see that obviously the state was going to lose the case. You see, even subsequently when they did still, they couldn't convict Afoku because the evidence was bad, right? So I'm saying that even that, look at it too, they were done with the trial. All the witnesses, more than 10, called years. Okay, Gregory had been arrested in 2016, right? All this, I mean, wasted, everything wasted. Even that, the Supreme Court said, well, the discretion belongs to the Attorney General. So the point we should be making is that if we don't agree, and I don't agree, if we want to clip the way in which prosecution withdraws the charges, etc., let's make new law. You see, but when the NPP administration were in office, they were not eager to make new law. But it's okay, we can overlook it, come around the table, let's compare the best practices around the world, and then make new law. And in actual fact, you see that Dr. Dominic Ayine, I call him my professor, right? Yes, because we all know, Ayine is unbeatable, right? His track record, everything. So you see that Ayine is a trailblazer. What he did was, I see the Opuni cases, etc., cases that concern members of his party. Yet each case, he took time to give the explanations. Of course, when he gave the explanations, there are two of them we didn't agree. The Sagleme case, where we thought that no, Collins Dowda and Co must answer. They promised that they'll put up a committee to value their properties, etc. So, Dr. Ayine, we are reminding you. So I remember that one, I didn't agree, etc. But the other ones, like the one Godfred Dami was caught in the unethical conduct, the Japa case. Yes, it's good. Ayine stopped the appeal to the Supreme Court, etc. So what Ayene's practice, he's already shown extensively that the way to go is that when you enter nolle prosequi, give reasons. And I'm saying just in case another Attorney General may not have Dr. Ayene's pedigree, and we've seen it in other state institutions. Even you remember, even when it comes to the presidency, when we were sacking Mahama in 2016, we thought that we're bringing Kpebu to take the notch higher, increase our governance by some notches higher, but it turned out he would rather take us down, right? So the lesson we are learning is that you will not always get somebody as good as Dr. Ayene. So because of that, then the best thing is that let's put it into law so that when an Attorney General is withdrawing, you give reasons, etc. So I'm for it. I'm for it to make governance better. But currently, under our law, even the thing went to the Supreme Court and the nolle prosequi, the Supreme Court said they cannot question Attorney General Gloria Kufu and Godfred Dami at the time because there's no evidence. It's only when you get evidence that shows the abuse, then you can use it. And that one, you don't even sometimes need to come to the Supreme Court. You start in the High Court. But a lot of the time, you won't get the evidence. So to cure the mischief, tighten the law so that the person who is withdrawing or entering a nolle prosequi should give reasons. So when he gives reasons and the citizens scrutinize and see that the reasons are not good, then it's easy for the citizens to go to court. But if you don't tighten the duty bearer's hands to give reasons, the citizen may go to court and they say, how did you get this evidence? You are speculating.
Right.
So,
well, with what the Deputy Attorney General has said, giving us an indication of how the coming days will look like in this particular issue, that this case, for that matter, that they have found new evidence, reason why they have withdrawn all charges against these persons, these accused persons in this case. We'll wait to see what the new evidence is and what the new charges will be. I think that will then, justify whether or not this decision by the Attorney General to withdraw these charges is one to applaud or go by or otherwise. This is Ghana Tonight. Lawyer Kpebu, thank you. So the state of affairs with the central bank is. But the majority says the 2025 costs and losses recorded by the Bank of Ghana must be understood in context, as the group has criticized the Akufo-Addo-led government for over 80 billion cedis losses posted between 2022 and 2024. Chair of the Economic and Development Committee of Parliament, Èxp0sè, insists deliberate policy interventions accounted for the situation, but has stressed that the central bank is solvent, adding that government plans to recapitalize the institution. Take a look.
Between 2022-2024, the Bank of Ghana recorded cumulative losses of approximately 80.85 billion Ghana cedis in the era of the NPP. Negative equity in central banking is an accounting condition and does not imply insolvency. Central banks are not profit-maximizing institutions. Rather, they are stabilizing institutions. Simply put, the bank's balance sheet reflects the cost of stabilizing the economy during a period of severe economic distress. You know the economy we inherited, Ghanaians inherited from the NPP. Looking ahead, these costs are expected to moderate as open market operation expenses will decline as liquidity conditions normalize. Exchange rate volatility will reduce, and the effect of the DDEP will gradually unwind. Furthermore, government commitment to recapitalizing the bank under the appropriate legal framework will strengthen its balance sheet over the medium term.
But the minority in Parliament also held the position that their losses cannot be justified in any way. This was at the press conference that Kojo Ponkuma addressed a couple of days ago. Take a look.
Happened on that Thursday when the NDC party, including non-MPs, came to Parliament, to the precincts of Parliament, to hold a press conference to announce the audited accounts of the Bank of Ghana was an illegality. Not only was it an illegality, it was an amount, or it was an act of blatant politicization of the Bank of Ghana and its work. The governor, the board, and the government should take note that this politicization of the central bank will create issues for the operational independence and credibility of the bank going forward. This policy insolvency is as a result of new policies that they have introduced at the bank. The implication of this is that the bank now requires an urgent bailout before it can perform its core mandate. On the watch of the NDC, for the first time in our history, the Bank of Ghana has become policy insolvent. The government and its spin doctors, led by the NDC party officials who did that press conference, are trying to convince the people of Ghana that their loss is 15.6 billion Ghana cedis. We regret to tell the people of Ghana that this is not true.
Well, sharing from both sides, let's bring in one who understands the market and how the things are playing out with respect to this decision, the policy outcomes of the central bank decision on the financial market and the entire economy as we have it. Joe Jackson is financial analyst and CEO of Dalex Finance. Jackson, good evening. Thank you for joining us. And you've heard the two positions as espoused by both parties in this matter. But then again, I left it from the realms of politics into policy and finance, where you sit. Now, on the matter of stability and the fact that the central bank says, if you want to understand what has happened with the costs, with the economic decisions that have been taken, look at the macroeconomic indicators that are trending in the right direction and the economic stability being experienced now.
Abusia lawyer Martin Kpebu ena yetene nka ono ena obetena akunyema obia no Kpebu nation na eba embra onimdi ode Godfred dame atoto ne level asa jandama ayana omopese omoplay no wanche aman kwabeda masesa maje pene kokotiza ensem we edemai aha gossip politics TV so beda mase